Good day, everyone. Our topic is all about climate change and the energy crisis and also environmental awareness. But before that, here is our intended learning outcomes first. Within the given period, the learners are expected to discuss climate change and its impacts on economic, geopolitical, biological, and meteorological. Good day, everyone. I am Sarah Jane Paring, the first reporter of Group 5. My topic talks about climate change and global warming. First, let us talk about climate change. So, what comes into your mind when you hear the word climate change? So, di ba, basically, makaingon ta nga, ay ang climate change, mao man siyang papago-bago ng klima. Like, sa ato na experience karon nga, mahibong na lang ta, kusog kayong uwan niya. Taud-taud mo init sad kaayo. So here is the definition of climate change. What is climate change? Climate change refers to significant long-term changes in the global climate. It is also encompasses global warming, but refers to the broader range of changes that are happening to our planet, including rising sea levels, shrinking mountain glaciers, accelerating ice melt in Greenland, Antarctica, and the Arctic, and shifts in flower or plant blooming times. And now let's proceed to global warming. So, global warming is the slow increase in the average temperature of the Earth's atmosphere because an increased amount of the energy or heat striking the Earth from the Sun is being trapped in the atmosphere and not radiated out into space.
See video for further knowledge and understanding.
Global warming and greenhouse effect. Earth, the third planet from the Sun. The only planet having a vast diversity of life forms. Earth's atmosphere, which is a thin blanket of air, protects Earth from the harmful radiations from the Sun. But this stable temperature is rising every passing year. Oceans are getting warmer. Significant shift in the climate is seen. Glaciers are melting. Why is all this happening? Earth is constantly bombarded with enormous amount of radiations from the Sun, which we receive in the form of light and heat energy. These radiations in the form of effect, and the gases involved in this are called greenhouse gases, which mainly includes carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, chlorofluorocarbons, etc. A greenhouse is a glass building. Now consider our planet Earth. The atmosphere acts as the glass and traps the heat. The greenhouse effect is essential in order to keep our planet warm. In the absence of this effect, the temperature of the Earth's surface would have been -20 to -40 degrees Celsius. If the plants in the greenhouse receives excess heat, it would burn. And if we consider planet Earth, over the last 2 centuries, human activities have changed the Earth's atmosphere in a dramatic way. The amount of greenhouse gases have increased and are still increasing. They trap too much heat, and this excess of greenhouse effect results in global warming, which is an increase in the Earth's average temperature. Consequences of global warming are enormous. Its effects are not limited to one country, but it would affect the entire planet. Knowing the fact that global warming exists and human-made carbon dioxide emissions have caused it.
So, global warming refers only to the Earth's rising surface temperature, while climate change includes warming and the side effects of warming, like melting glaciers, heavy rainstorms, or more frequent drought. Said another way, global warming is one symptom of the much larger problem of human-caused climate change.
The most commonly discussed of greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, methane gas, nitrous oxide, fluorinated gases, and sulfur hexafluoride. The first one is carbon dioxide, or CO2. Carbon dioxide is produced anytime something is burned. It is the most common greenhouse gases, constituting by some measures almost 55% of total long-term of greenhouse gases. It is used as a marker by the United States. The sense of today is the technology of tomorrow by Edward Teller. It is Environmental Protection Agency, for example. Because of its ubiquity, carbon dioxide is assigned as GWP or global warming potential. The second one is methane or CH4. It is produced in many combustion processes and also by anaerobic decomposition. For example, in flooded rice paddies, pig and cow stomachs, and pig manure ponds. Methane breaks down approximately 10 years, but it is a precursor of ozone. It an important of greenhouse gases because CH4 has a global warming potential. The third one is nitrous oxide or laughing gas. It is a dye product or fertilizer production and use other industrial processes and the combustion of certain materials. Nitrous oxide lasts a very long time in the atmosphere, but at the 100-year point of comparison to CO2 or carbon dioxide, its global warming potential is 265 to 298. The fourth one is fluorinated gases. Fluorinated gases were created as replacement for ozone-depleting refrigerants but have proved to be both extremely long-lasting and extremely warming of greenhouse gases. They have no natural sources but are entirely man-made. At the 100-year point of comparison, their global warming potential range from 1,800 to 8,000 and some variants top 10,000. The last one is sulfur hexafluoride or SF6. It is used for specialized medical procedures but primarily in what are called dielectric materials, especially dielectric liquids. These are used as insulators in high voltage applications such as transformers and grid switching gear. SF6 will last thousands of years in the upper atmosphere and has a global warming of 22,800. So next is what is black carbon and how does it cause global warming? So black carbon or BC is a tiny particles of carbon released as a result of the incomplete combustion of fossils, fuels, biofuels, and biomass. These particles are extremely small, ranging from 10 micrometers, the size of a single bacterium, to less than 2.5 micrometers. For example, 1/13 the width of a human hair and small enough to pass through the walls of the human lung and into the bloodstream. Although black carbon, think of the plume of smoke from a fire falls out of the lower atmosphere in days, while it is suspended in the air. It absorbs the sun's heat millions of times more effectively than carbon dioxide. When wind carries black carbon over snow, ice caps where it falls out onto the white, normally reflective surface, it is a particularly damaging because it contributes directly to melting. Overall, black carbon is considered the second biggest contributor to global warming after carbon dioxide.
What are the most important source of greenhouse gases and black carbon? Fossil fuel and related uses of coal and petroleum are the most important source of greenhouse gases and black carbon. Power generator, industry, transportation, building. Agriculture is the second most important source. Animals, cows, and pigs, feed production, chemical incentive food production, and flooded paddy rice production, as well as deforestation driven by the desire to expand cultivated areas. Oxide is 6%, methane is 16%, carbon dioxide is 11%, and carbon dioxide, fossil fuel, and industrial process is 65%. Studies suggest that agriculture is the largest contributor of particulate emissions in the U.S. and other developed agricultural countries. So natural sources of greenhouse gases and black carbon include forest fires, savanna fires, and volcanoes. What evidence do we have of climate change? The most compelling climate change evidence scientists have of climate change is long-term data relating to atmospheric CO2 levels and global temperature, sea level, the expanse of ice, the fossil record, and the distribution of species. This data, which goes back millions of years, shows strong correlation between CO2 levels and temperature. Recent data shows a trend of increasing temperature and rising CO2 levels beginning in the early 19th century. Because all parts of the global climate are connected, scientists have been able to create models of how changes caused by heating should work their way through the entire system and appear in different areas. For example, the sea level and temperate weather, the movement of fish species in the ocean, testing whether or not predicted changes have occurred is an important way to verify. This can be done in two ways. First, it is impossible to load a model with historical data and ask how well does this model predict what we know happened. NASA and other scientific agencies have done this and found that the models work well. And the second way to test is to use model to predict upcoming changes and then to see if emerging reality fits. It is impossible to track the rapid retreat of glaciers and observe the summer melting of polar ice cap. Sea levels are rising measurably. The temperature of the world's oceans is demonstrably rising, and consequently, many fish species are moving to follow waters that are the right temperature for them. Relating these changes to timing of rises in CO2 levels and temperature suggests relationship. NASA provides a good visual tool for viewing these rational models in action. In specific instances, for example, CO2 levels, temperature, and ocean pH, the chemical process are traceable, proving direct causal connection.
Good day everyone, I am Tara Justin Valdez, and today I am going to discuss about the visual impacts of climate change evidence.
So what causes melting glaciers? So the main root of this phenomenon is human activities. Specifically, since the Industrial Revolution, carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas emissions have raised temperatures even higher in the poles. And as a result, glaciers are rapidly melting, calving off into the sea and off into the land. So, tungod sa carbon dioxide o uban pang greenhouse gases, ni-rise ang ato ang temperature o mao'y hinungdan nganong nalanay ang mga glaciers. So, the next one is the sea level rising. So, what are the causes of sea level rising? So, it is caused primarily by two factors related to global warming: the added water from melting ice sheets and glaciers, and the expansion of seawater as it warms. So, tungod miinit ang panahon, nalalay ang mga ice sheets and glaciers, then mao ni taas or ni rise ang atong sea level. So, the next one is the flooding. So, familiar man ta aning flooding, no? So, the cause of flooding are heavy rains. So, when ocean waves come on shore, when snow melts quickly, or when dams or levees break, so ang cause sa baha is sa kusog na uwan, ocean waves o snow nga nalanay og dali, and also dams nga naguba. Mao na siya ang flooding. So, the next one is worsening drought. So, it is a prolonged dry period in the natural climate cycle that can occur anywhere in the world. It is a slow onset disaster characterized by the lack of precipitation, resulting in a water shortage. Rising temperature caused by climate change are making already dry regions drier and wet regions wetter. So, in dry regions, this means that when temperature rise, water evaporates more quickly and thus increases the risk of drought or prolonged periods of drought. So, tungod sa rising temperatures caused by climate change is ang mga dry region is dry pa og samot. So, the next one is supercell storm. It is a thunderstorm characterized by the presence of a mesocyclone, a deep persistently rotating updraft. So, due to these storms are sometimes referred to as rotating thunderstorms. Ano yung mean for supercell storm? So, tungod sa kakusog na hangin, nahimo ni or napurma ang supercell storm. Tungod hapon ni siya sa climate change. Maong na mahimo or mapurma nga disaster. Mga siya supercell storm. Then, the last one is the increasing tornado. So, it is a narrow, violently rotating commonly of air that extends from a thunderstorm to the ground. Because wind is invisible, it is hard to see a tornado unless it forms a condensation funnel made up of water droplets, dust, and debris. So, a tornado or in Bisaya is buhawi. So, na-form ang buhawi tungod sa hangin nga nagsugat, and as we all know nga ang buhawi is tungod na siya sa climate sa usa ka lugar and tungod sa kakusugon sa hangin.
Good day, everyone. I am Mary Rose Takukong. I'm going to discuss about the environmental awareness. So, environmental awareness. The term means exactly what you expect it to. Being aware of the natural environment and making choices that benefit rather than hurt the earth. And environmental awareness is very important because it can help to minimize pollution and global warming. In recent years, environmental awareness has gained increased attention. It is fair to say it has become a bit of a trend. From environmentally friendly tiny homes to organic food, environmental awareness is a hot topic. However, it is nothing new and it ought to be more than just a passing fad because of its importance. Let's dig deeper and learn more about environmental awareness. So, I have here some examples of ways to practice environmental awareness. Stop using toxic building supplies. So, homes. In recent years, advanced nations have become more aware of harmful building materials such as asbestos, lead based paint, lead pipes, and others. People can demonstrate environmental awareness by choosing to use building materials that are natural and do not hurt the environment, like wood, stone, brick, copper, and other materials are excellent choices. So, based what I've said, kitang mga tao makademonstrate sa environmental awareness by choosing the natural materials that do not hurt our environment. So, second, converging energy and water. Going along with the home theme, converging energy is another way to demonstrate environmental awareness. An easy way to conserve energy is to turn off light when it is not in use. Some people even install solar panels and other types of alternative energy sources. There is much potential for solar power to become mainstream and efficient in the future. So, we should encourage children to turn off all appliances when it is not used. Going along with energy conservation is water conservation. People should be mindful to not waste water by leaving the faucet running while brushing teeth. Water is a valuable natural resource that we often take for granted. So, di kinahanglan dili ta mag-usik-usik og tubig kay it is demonstrating environmental awareness na. So my last example are purchases, recycling, and activism. Some people choose to buy clothing and products that contain natural fibers or materials rather than synthetic ones. Obviously, recycling is another huge part of demonstrating environmental awareness. Still, others who are extremely passionate about these issues become activists. They might march and protest or organize rallies or events. As we can see, environmental awareness takes many forms, and each person must figure out what specific practices work for them. Keep in mind to promote the environmental awareness, we should teach people about the three R's, which are reduce waste, reuse resources, and recycling materials. Organize tree planting days at school and teach children why trees are important to the environment. And encourage people to switch off all appliances when not in use. That's all. Thank you.